Someone is going to tell you to calm down. Maybe today, maybe in an hour. The second the words leave their mouth, you should understand something. They are lying to you. Not on purpose, not with any malice. They are handing you the most useless sentence in the English language, and they think they are helping. You already know the moment I mean. You were in it. The room had gotten hot. Your voice had climbed half a step without your permission. Your hands had found the edge of the table. Then someone leaned back, looked at you like you were the problem and said it. Just calm down. Or the softer version, the one that sounds kind. Just breathe. And what happened next? You got worse. The heat went up, not down. Some animal part of you wanted to throw the words back across the table. You tried to obey, you really did. You told your own body to stand down and it acted like it had never heard of you. Here is what I need you to stop believing. That this was a failure of willpower. That a stronger, calmer, more disciplined person would have simply calmed down. And that is the lie. It is costing you every confrontation you walk into, because you keep trying to win with a weapon that was never connected to anything. The order to calm down is impossible to follow.
Not hard. Impossible. And before this is over, you are going to understand the exact reason why.
Down to the 3-second window where composure is actually won or lost. A window that opens long before the word calm could ever reach the part of you that needs to hear it. Every person who told you to just breathe was aiming at the wrong target. You are about to find the right one. Start in your own skull. In the half second after it begins, something sets it off. A tone, a smirk, or a sentence with a little blade hidden in it. And before you have decided anything, before you even know you have decided, a small structure deep in your brain has already pulled the trigger. It is roughly the size and shape of an almond, one on each side, and it does not wait for your opinion. There is a name for what it just did to you. The word for it is not a suggestion, and it is not a request. It is a hijack. It is called an amygdala hijack, and a psychologist named Daniel Goleman put that phrase into the language in 1995. He chose the word on purpose, because in that instant, something took the controls clean out of your hands. It took them fast. A researcher at New York University named Joseph Ledoux spent years mapping the wiring of fear, and he found something that should change how you think about every argument you have ever lost. The signal that something is a threat travels by 2 roads. One road is long. It climbs up to the thinking part of your brain, gets evaluated, gets considered, and comes back with a measured response. The other road is short, and it is fast, and it skips your thinking brain completely. It runs straight to the alarm. The fast road wins, every time. By the time the thoughtful, reasonable, calm down part of you receives the memo, your heart rate is already up, your blood has already moved, and your body is already braced for something it has decided is a fight. So picture the timing of that room again. The smirk lands, the fast road has already fired, and it is somewhere in the next few seconds, while your body is bracing and your face is going tight, that the other person says the words, "Just calm down." They are asking you to undo something that has already happened. They are telling you to unring a bell. But the bell is only the beginning of why the order fails. Because to actually calm down, you would need a specific tool. And that tool is exactly the thing your brain just switched off. The part of you that does the calming. The part that weighs and plans and reconsiders and talks you down off the ledge sits right behind your forehead. It is called the prefrontal cortex. It is the most evolved, most human, most expensive piece of equipment you own. And it has a fatal flaw that nobody mentions when they tell you to keep your cool. It is the first thing to go.
Which means the order you are being handed is aimed at the one part of you that is already shut down.
A neuroscientist at Yale named Amy Arnsten studies exactly this. And in 2009, she published a paper in the journal Nature Reviews Neuroscience with a title that sounds dry until you understand what it means for you. It described how the pathways of stress impair the structure and function of the prefrontal cortex. In plain terms, under real stress, the uncontrollable kind, the kind a hostile person in a hot room produces, your most intelligent brain region does not rise to the occasion. It powers down. The chemistry of stress floods in and, as she put it, drags you from reflective control to reflexive control. Thinking goes offline, reflex takes the wheel. Now put the 2 facts together, because this is the whole trick. The command calm down is a command that only the prefrontal cortex can carry out. And the prefrontal cortex is precisely the part that stress has just escorted out of the building. So when someone tells you to calm down, they are knocking on a door, in a room, that has already been evacuated.
The command can only be carried out by the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is exactly what stress just escorted out of the building.
No one is inside to receive the message. You are not refusing the order. There is simply nothing left in the chair to obey it. This is the first thing the people who give you advice have backwards. They think composure is a decision you make in the moment. It is not. In the moment, the part of you that makes decisions is gone. Hold that, because it changes where the real fight has to happen. And while your thinking brain is offline, your bloodstream is filling up with a chemical that does not take requests. When the alarm goes off, your body floods your system with stress hormones, and the slow, heavy one, the one that keeps the emergency running, is cortisol. This is the part the science files under cortisol and stress, and the numbers are what nobody tells you. Cortisol does not spike and vanish. It takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes just to reach its peak in your blood. Then it lingers. It can take the better part of an hour to clear back out. Sit with what that means. Someone provokes you at 9 in the morning. The chemistry of that single moment is still moving through your body at 9:45, whether you have decided to be over it or not. So when they snap their fingers and tell you to calm down right now, in the next 2 seconds, on command, they are asking your bloodstream to reverse a chemical reaction that is physically incapable of reversing that fast. You cannot will cortisol out of your veins any more than you can will yourself sober. Here it gets darker, because cortisol is not random about what sets it off hardest. A pair of researchers at UCLA, Sally Dickerson and Margaret Kemeny, went back through 208 separate laboratory studies of what makes the human stress response fire biggest and last longest. The answer was almost cruel in how specific it was. The single most powerful trigger was a situation where you are being judged by other people, and there is nothing you can do to control the outcome. Judged and entirely out of your hands. Read that back. They have just described every confrontation that matters. A meeting where you are being measured. An argument you cannot win and cannot leave. And the exact moments when staying composed matters most are, chemically, the moments your body is built to lose composure hardest. The deck is stacked, and just calm down pretends the deck is flat. And it is not only the rooms with people in them. Think about the last message that detonated in your hand. A text, an email, a comment with your name on it. 3 lines that you read once and could not unread. No one is in front of you. No voice is raised. Yet you feel the exact same fire, because your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a threat standing over you and a threat glowing on a screen. The judgment is there. The lack of control is there, because you cannot reach through the glass and fix it. So the alarm fires, the cortisol pours, the thinking brain dims, and you do the most expensive thing a person can do in that state. You reply. Immediately, while the chemistry is at its peak and the smart part of you is still gone. You have watched yourself send the message you regretted before your thumb had even lifted off the screen. That was not a character flaw. That was a hijack with a keyboard. The order to calm down before you respond was never going to reach you. The part that could have listened had already left. So if the order is impossible, why does everyone keep giving it? And worse, why do the 2 things you are told to do instead make it worse? Because there is an entire industry built on selling you the feeling of fixing this, without the mechanism that would actually fix it. And when you look at what it really prescribes, you find 2 instructions, repeated everywhere, in every gentle voice. The first one, control yourself. Hold it in, keep your face still and your voice level, and do not let them see a thing. The second one, change your inner voice. Tell yourself you are calm. Repeat that you are in control. Both backfire, and both have been caught doing it in a lab. Take the first one, the composed mask. A psychologist at Stanford named James Gross ran the experiment that should retire this advice forever. He had people watch things designed to disturb them, and he told one group to suppress it, to feel whatever they felt but show nothing. Keep the surface perfectly flat. The poker face you have been told is strength. On the outside it worked. They looked calmer. But Gross was measuring the inside. And on the inside, the suppressors were not calmer at all. Their stress response climbed. The fight-or-flight wiring fired harder, not softer, even as the face went still. Holding the mask did not lower the fire. It added the cost of holding the mask on top of the fire. So every time you have sat there, face like stone, congratulating yourself on not reacting, your body was paying double. You did not find composure. You found a more expensive way to be just as activated, with the added strain of pretending you weren't. Now the second instruction, the inner pep talk, the affirmations. I am calm. I am confident. I am in control. Researchers at the University of Waterloo, led by Joanne Wood, tested whether telling yourself nice things actually helps in a study published in 2009. The result was the kind of thing the self-help shelf does not want printed. For people who already felt good about themselves, the positive self-talk did a little. But for the people who needed it most, the ones low on confidence, the ones actually reaching for the affirmation in a bad moment, repeating the positive statement made them feel worse. Not better, worse. Because saying I am in control, while every signal in your body screams that you are not, only widens the gap between the claim and the truth, and your mind notices the lie. This is the quiet engine behind why modern self-help is making you miserable. It hands you tools that feel like progress and produce the opposite, then lets you conclude the failure was you. You were not failing the technique. The technique was failing you, on a stopwatch, in a lab, years ago. Which leaves you somewhere strange. The order is impossible. The mask costs you double, and the pep talk backfires. So is composure a lie too, something a few lucky people are born with and the rest of us fake until we leak? No. And the way out starts with the one piece of common advice that is not entirely wrong. It is just aimed badly. Just breathe. You have heard it 1,000 times and you have probably rolled your eyes at it, because in the moment it feels as useless as the rest. But breathing is not useless. It is the one door into the nervous system you can still operate when the thinking brain is offline, because it runs on the older, automatic wiring that the hijack does not take from you. The problem is what people actually do when they hear it. They gasp. They pull in a big, sharp, panicked inhale and hold it high in the chest. A hard inhale does the opposite of calming you. It speeds the heart up. They are doing the move backwards and concluding the move is broken. The lever was never the inhale, it is the exhale. A long, slow exhale, longer than the breath that went in, is the one thing that reaches down and pulls the brake, because the body reads a slow out breath as the all clear, not a gulp of air, a long letting go of it. That is the difference between the version that does nothing and the version that does something, and almost no one is taught which is which. But notice what breathing actually buys you. It does not erase the fire. It buys you a few seconds. Those few seconds are the entire game. Because here is what composure actually is, once you strip away the lies. It is not the absence of the alarm. The calm people you envy are not the ones who never get hijacked. Their almond-shaped alarm fires too. Their cortisol rises too. What they have is not a quieter body. It is a different thing done with the same fire. Inside a window most people do not even know exists. Remember the timing. The fast road fires. The thinking brain drops out. There is a gap, a few seconds long, between the moment your body lights up and the moment your mind finishes deciding what that fire means. That gap is the 3-second window, and what you do inside it decides everything that follows, because the body's signal arrives blank. A pounding heart is not by itself fear. It is not by itself anger. It is just fuel. Your mind walks into the gap and assigns it a story, and the story is what you then have to live out. Most people run one automatic story. This is bad. I am losing control. I am under attack. And the moment they tell that story, the fuel becomes panic, and the panic demands a reaction, and they react and they lose. A researcher named Jamieson, working with the psychologist Mendes, tested what happens when you change the story inside the window. In a study published in 2012, they took people walking into a high-pressure, judged performance, exactly the social and evaluative trap that fires cortisol hardest, and taught one group a single refrain. When your heart pounds, when your breath shortens, that is not your body failing. That is your body delivering oxygen and fuel to help you meet the moment. The heart pounds exactly as hard, only what it means has changed, and the bodies of the people who reframed it responded differently in a way you cannot fake by force of will. Their blood vessels stayed more open. Their cardiovascular system behaved less like a man bracing for a wound and more like an athlete arriving for a race. They performed better, and they performed calmer. The trick was doing the one thing you have been told never to do. Instead of fighting the arousal, they retasked it. Picture the two of them walking into the same interview, the same audition, the same high-stakes room. Both hearts are slamming. Both have the dry mouth and the hands that want to shake. The first one reads those signals as proof he is about to fail, and his body obeys the verdict, his blood vessels clamping down, the whole system bracing as if for a wound. The second one reads the identical signals as a body loading up to perform, and the system opens instead of closing. Same machinery, opposite outcome. The only thing that differed between them was the sentence each one told himself in the 3 seconds before his thinking brain came back online. That is the move, not calm down. Re-aim. You do not empty the tank. You point it somewhere useful before your mind defaults to panic. This is the whole difference between the man who comes apart in the meeting and the one who gets sharper in it. And it is not character, it is timing and a story, executed in a window 3 seconds wide. This is what we mean by the power of staying calm and not reacting under pressure, explained by neuroscience. It isn't a mood, and it isn't a personality you were or weren't handed. It is a specific, trainable sequence that happens in a findable place in time. So how do you get the window? Not by reading about it once. The window is narrow and the hijack is fast, and the first few hundred times life throws a real provocation at you, the old automatic story will get there first. This is the part the motivational version skips, because it takes deliberate, boring repetition does not sell as well as just decide to be calm. But the mechanism is on your side here, and it is worth knowing why. Every time you catch the fire early and re-aim it instead of obeying it, you are doing something physical. You are running the prefrontal cortex against the alarm while both are live, and the brain strengthens whatever it runs. The pathway that lets the thinking part keep partial hold of the wheel during a hijack is like any other. Thin and unreliable at first, thicker and faster with use. You are not learning a fact. You are wiring a reflex to override a reflex. That is why the calm people seem to do it without effort. For them, it is no longer a decision. It has been run so many times, it fires on its own, in the window, before panic can post its story. And you can drill it without waiting for a real crisis, which is the part that makes it usable. The early signal is the whole skill. Before the meeting you know will be hostile, before the call you have been dreading, or right before you open the message you can already tell will land wrong. In those low-stakes rehearsals, you learn the exact feel of your own alarm starting up, the specific place in your chest, your jaw, your hands where the fire shows itself first, a few seconds before your mind would normally name it. That recognition is the lever. You cannot re-aim a fire you have not noticed yet. The people who lose are not weaker. They simply find out they are angry at the same moment everyone else does, when it is already coming out of their mouth. So go back to that hot room one more time, and run it with what you have now instead of what you were told. The smirk lands. The blade sentence arrives, and the fire starts up exactly as it always has. You do not get to skip that part, and you have stopped trying to. But this time you feel it a half second sooner, in the place you have learned to watch, and you know precisely what is happening. The almond pulled the trigger. The thinking brain is dimming, and the cortisol is already on its way, and it is not leaving for an hour no matter what you do. None of that is an emergency. It is the weather in your body, and it is on a timer. Then the other person says it. Just calm down. And for the first time, the sentence has no power over you, because you finally understand it is not an instruction. It is noise, aimed at a room that is empty. You do not try to obey it. You do not slap the mask on and pay double. And you will not whisper an affirmation your body will catch you lying about. Instead, you do one thing. A long, slow exhale, longer going out than it came in. And in the few seconds that buys you, you reach into the window and change the story. Not I am losing control. Instead, this is fuel, and I decide where it goes. What the other person sees from across the table is someone who did not move, who did not climb half a step, who looked at the hottest moment in the room and stayed exactly the same temperature. They will think you were born calm. They will be wrong. You were not born calm. You were aimed. And that is the thing they will never understand about the person they cannot rattle. From the outside, composure looks like nothing, like an absence, like someone who simply feels less. It is the opposite. It is more happening, not less. The same hijack, the same flood, that same impossible order still hanging in the air. The composed person is running a faster, quieter operation underneath all of it, in a window 3 seconds wide, and they have run it so many times that it costs them almost nothing. So the next time someone tells you to just calm down, you do not have to argue. You do not have to explain any of this. Let them keep the sentence. Let them believe composure is a mood you are failing to summon. That misunderstanding is theirs now, and it is an advantage you hold over everyone who still thinks the fight is won by trying harder to relax. You are not going to try to calm down anymore. By now you know that you can't, and that nobody can, and that everyone who told you to was aiming at an empty chair. You are going to do the thing that actually works, in the only window where it can be done. Catch the fire early. Pull the brake with one long breath. And before your mind can hand you the old story about losing control, take the fuel and point it where you want it to go. That is not calming down. It is something far more dangerous, and it is finally yours.